It is now 16 days since the Commission on Inquiry into Land Acquisition and Management began its work. Representatives from the civil society organizations were the day's witnesses before the 7-member commission sitting in Kampala. Some of the key issues they raised include the long duration spent in the courts to settle land disputes, the displacement of vulnerable communities like the Ik and the Benet, as well as the issuance of titles in protected areas.
When they were evicted, there were no formal arrangement to resettle them and to give them a decent accommodation. And I think this is an injustice that has gone on for a very long time, which we think should be addressed. But we also think that where we have court judgments, these court judgments should be implemented, but there is also need for opening up most of these boundaries so that communities know where these protected areas actually start and where they end.
They also added that some of the people who are legally displaced to make way for government projects are sometimes never fully compensated.
In most cases, government projects, road constructions, acquisitions for investment stall because either one or two community members, affected people, refuse the compensation they've been accorded.
The civil society groups also say evictions are increasingly characterized by violence and loss of lives.
The challenge with these enforcement bodies, the moment they have an eviction order, it's like you can do anything. It's a human being to property, and it's very, very challenging. And I think that is an area that is less guided and less regretted. How do you carry out an eviction, even when you have a court order to carry out that eviction? So that some of these international best practices, and we've signed most of these conventions, but we don't have these guidelines. I think it's an area that could be regulated and guided so that the evictions are also humane.
The commissioners, led by Lady Justice Catherine Bamugemerere, often interjected to seek for clarifications from the observations made by the civil society.
I have not heard of any case by a lawyer or a community or an individual suing a court bailiff for mishandling eviction.
As part of their recommendations before the commission, the civil society groups called for the setting up of special courts to handle land matters and a transparent system to manage government acquisition of land.
We recommend that the systematic land demarcation that has remained a pilot in this country should be implemented to resolve boundary disputes and facilitate land registration as far as customary ownership is concerned. And then cancel those titles that have been issued in these protected areas.
The President appointed the Commission of Inquiry on 8th December 2016. It began its work nearly 5 months later and is expected to produce an interim report within 3 months. Walter Mwesije, NTV.